All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. The NAACP says to travel through Missouri at your own risk. A travel warning in the United States of America from the NAACP. Travel through Missouri at your own risk. We're going to talk about that a little later. I want you to look up the governor of Missouri. Put his picture up there, and how do I pronounce his name? Greitens. Greitens? Okay, governor, Missouri governor, Greitens. Do I have a picture over there of him? Yeah, that's him. I couldn't find any that he's not all riled up. He's a former Navy SEAL, governor of Missouri. The NAACP, I think he signed a right to work in Missouri. St. Louis, big union town. Big union town. St. Louis. Kansas City, big union town. Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, big union towns. This guy got a right to work, Navy SEAL, and they passed a law that we're going to talk about in a minute that he signed, that the NAACP, travel at your own risk. I thought the NAACP would have put a travel at your own risk notice out when things were out of control in Ferguson, but no. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, let me just say this, okay? Let's go into the. I have it here somewhere. It'll be just a minute. Yesterday, David Perdue. Let me just say this, and we'll get through this. Senator David Perdue, okay? Trump GOP Senators introduced bill to slash legal immigration. Put up the picture of Tom Cotton. This is Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. And this is Senator David Perdue of Georgia. And this is the President of the United States. Now, while I am on this subject, for those viewers here in Georgia, you should be proud, I guess if I think you should be proud that that is your senator from Georgia, David Perdue. And I want to say this. I followed Senator Perdue's campaign very close during the primary, okay? Interviewed the senator several times. Then candidate Perdue. Followed his race against Michelle Nunn. Remember Michelle Nunn ran for Senate? I followed the race very close with Michelle Nunn. And I stood, and I'm never going to forget this. I want to repeat this briefly. I stood down here in Canton, Georgia, in a room no bigger than the studio I'm coming to you from this morning. And I was within 3 feet of Ted Cruz, okay, Senator Ted Cruz, and then candidate David Perdue, all right? And, you know, Ted Cruz looked at all these reporters, the AP, everybody's out there, and I'm on the front row, and he looked at everybody. He was campaigning for Senator Perdue, and he said, to my libertarian friends, I'll never forget, Ted Cruz said, to my libertarian friends, support David Perdue, but then hold him accountable. Support him, but hold him accountable. I have to tell you, there's very few things since the senator has taken office here that I am disappointed in. Very few things. I did not support TPP. I was a little iffy with the senator on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, but he stood up and supported the President of the United States during the election. He wore his jean jacket and his Make America Great Again hat. He did not waver in his support for the president. He has not wavered since he's become president. He doesn't care to stand. David Perdue, now I'm not talking about Tom Cotton because I am in Georgia. Senator David Perdue has not been shy 1 minute of standing with the president. Senator David Perdue has led the way with saying the Senate deserves no break no time off, no break until they pass a repeal of Obamacare. He has really pushed no recess. They didn't deserve it. All the above. You can read all of his posts he put out. And yesterday he stood beside the President of the United States with this new immigration green card bill. And anyhow, our former governor, Sonny Perdue, which is David, our senator's first cousin, Sonny is his first cousin, happens to be the agricultural secretary. So the Perdues and the state of Georgia has done very well in the Trump administration. Now, this guy standing next to the president, because here's what I continue to want to say. Do you think these people in their distinguished careers are going to gravitate to this man that the media wants you to believe will end their career if they continue to lockstep with the President of the United States? David Perdue, former, I think, CEO of Dollar General, all right, so on and so forth. The President of the United States, this is a little prediction I like to throw out. After 2018, just like throw this out, let's have a little political fun. After 2018 election, and there's no disruption, and they see the body count, no pun intended, okay? They see the body count of Republicans versus Democrats there. If everything turns out okay, usually in the middle of a midterm or going into the second term, which the president will go for, don't get caught off guard if David Perdue doesn't become a member of the president's cabinet. Just saying, want to put that out there. Now, the Merrick brothers in Texas, guess what we have? We have a major labor shortage. Guess what we have? We can't find people to work. Now, Fox News did an interesting story yesterday afternoon with Merrick Construction, Merrick, and those are the Merrick brothers. And the Merrick brothers have an office in Atlanta. They have several offices around the country. Very large contractor. I had an opportunity to meet one of the Merrick brothers at a trade show one time, and just a big contractor. Metal studs, drywall. I mean, an enormous employ thousands of people. I think the largest commercial contractor in the Dallas area. So one of the Merrick brothers did an interview yesterday that he says this is the worst that they can remember in a labor shortage. They don't have half. The illegals are not coming across the border. Now stay with me. There's a reason I want to do this. I got other things I want to do today, but every once in a while we got to come into reality. Now the Border Patrol is doing a great job. Former Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, great job. Jeff Sessions, Attorney General, they're putting a stop to this. 550 or 600 were arrested and removed. The media will not do that story. Don't have time for that. Okay. ICE has arrested like 600 in a week. They rounded up like 600 in a week, and you overstayed your limits. You got to go. You were told for the last time by the judge that you had to leave, so we're going to help you. So all of that combined with border crossing. Now, there's a couple things I want to bring to light. It's called the truth. Now, why are border crossings down? One, our Border Patrol is doing a great job. Two, the Mexican economy is doing well. NAFTA paid off for them. Our factories paid off for them. What did I tell you years ago? Going back to the beginning of this show, all the way through the primary. Do you think when Ford, we'll use General Motors, your company, you still own it, they did off-balance sheet transactions. If you believe to this morning that General Motors has paid back the American people, right? What's the old oceanfront property out in Arizona? Hasn't happened. They have off-balance sheet transaction that helps it look like they've repaid the debt to you and I. So General Motors goes down there and they build a factory. They take our money, they take our everything we do, and we go down there and build a factory, and they employ what? 600-700 Mexicans, right? So what did I used to say? I would say on this show before the election, Juan looks over at Jose. They're wearing, I guess this might sound to some of you like it's they're wearing uniforms, okay? They're wearing their work uniforms. All right, so picture this. It says General Motors on this badge, and this guy's got a name Juan, and this guy's got Jose. And Juan looks over at Jose and says, "Hey, Jose, what do you want to do this afternoon? Would you like to go and cross the border in America?" "No, Juan. We no go to America because they have no jobs. We have their jobs. We're working in the factory here. Why we have to go there?" I know how many people I just offended, right? Everybody's offended, right? Everybody's friggin' offended now, right? I don't care. So why are they going to rush our border when they have our jobs? That was in the report yesterday. Mexico's economy's doing well. NAFTA paid off for them. I mean, you go get you a pair of 501 Blues. They were made 15 miles north of where I'm sitting this morning. Levi's 501 Blues right here up north. 15 miles north, right? Hey, come from Mexico. That's okay. So that's one of the problems. We have a labor shortage, right? Now, why do we have? There's some people you're not going to be able to help. Because the only help they've gotten used to in this country is the government. That's the help. The Great Society, LBJ. Great Society. That's the help they've gotten used to. Period. Move. They're murdering kids left and right in Chicago. Move. You don't have to live in Chicago. Let me tell you, why we should not have the black male is the highest unemployment rate in this country. Donald Trump is doing everything to stop illegal immigration, okay? To stop people pouring in here with no skills. So those jobs could go to your kids. Those jobs could go to the black inner city youth. I guarantee you today there's 300 construction jobs, well-paying construction jobs in Dallas for the Merrick brothers. I will guarantee you there is 100 well-paying construction jobs, 150 right here where I'm sitting within a 30-mile radius. They can't find people to work. Period. Here's the thing is, you know what? I told people if you want to get this country turned around, you may have to have our children cut the grass. We may need a generation or two that cut our own grass. May need a generation or two that learn how to drive a nail. We may need a generation or two that learn how to work construction. Learn the trades. Don't come after me. Don't attack me. I'm not against your children. I'm not against anything. I'm just saying we have really right now no reason whatsoever why that we have this social safety net when there's jobs available. You should have to work for any kind of social safety net you have if you have a physical ability to do so. There should not. Trump is doing everything he can to help you get out. Get out of the inner city. Get out of the danger zone. Get out of what the Democrats and the Great Society put you into. So let me get this. I'm going to take a break. What happened yesterday? They went from 1 million, I'm going to play that in a minute, 1 million green cards, we use a round number, 1 million, down to 500,000. You have to have a skill. They prefer you to speak English. That set the media off. You have that video of Stephen Miller and CNN, I don't know what it's called. Yes, CNN. Yes, and this guy at CNN is just he is so unprofessional, and I love what he says. So we're going to play this video. Stay with us. This is the back and forth of the media. They go nuts when they hear English. You want to speak English? This drives them nuts. You want people to come here legally? This drives them nuts. You want skills? You want people to come with a skill? Drives them crazy. Play that video, Sam. Let's watch this for a minute.
What you're proposing, or what the president's proposing here, does not sound like it's in keeping with American tradition when it comes to immigration. The Statue of Liberty says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free." It doesn't say anything about speaking English or being able to be a computer programmer. Aren't you trying to change what it means to be an immigrant coming into this country? If you're telling them you have to speak English, can't people learn how to speak English when they get here?
Well, first of all, right now, it's a requirement that to be naturalized, you have to speak English. So the notion that speaking English wouldn't be a part of our immigration systems would be actually very ahistorical. Secondly, I don't want to get off into a whole thing about history here, but the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of liberty enlightening the world. It's a symbol of American liberty lighting the world. The poem that you're referring to that was added later is not actually part of the original Statue of Liberty, but more fundamentally, the history, but more fundamentally,
you're saying
the
that
history.
That does not represent.
I'm saying that the notion. I'm saying the notion that I'm saying the notion.
Stephen, I'm sorry.
No,
Jim.
Let me ask you a question.
That sounds like some national park revisionism.
No, what I'm asking you is
the Statue of Liberty has always been
let me ask you a question.
of hope to the world.
Jim,
for people to send
do you believe
people to this country?
Jim,
and they're not always going to speak English, Stephen.
Jim,
do you believe going to be highly skilled? They're not always going to be.
Jim, I appreciate your speech. Jim, I appreciate your speech. So let's talk about this.
It was a modest.
Jim, let's talk about this. In 1970, when we let in 300,000 people a year, was that violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land? In the 1990s, when it was 500,000 a year, was it violating or not violating the Statue of Liberty law of the land? When it was 700,000 a year, no. Tell me what years. Tell me what years meet Jim Acosta's definition of the Statue of Liberty poem, law of the land. So you're saying 1 million a year is the Statue of Liberty number. 900,000 violates it. 800,000 violates it.
You're sort of bringing a press one for English philosophy here to immigration, and that's never been what the United States has been about, Stephen.
But your statement's also shockingly ahistorical in another respect too, which is if you look at the history of immigration, it's actually ebbed and flowed. We've had periods of very large waves, followed by periods of less immigration and more immigration, and during we've had
a period of immigration right now. The president wants to build a wall. You want to bring about a sweeping change to
surely, Jim, you don't actually think that a wall affects green card policy. You couldn't possibly believe that, do you? Actually, the notion that you actually think immigration is at a historic law, the foreign-born population in the United States today, Jim,
staff on Monday talking about how border crossings.
Do you really? I want to be serious, Jim. Do you really at CNN not know the difference between green card policy and illegal immigration?
Sir,
you really don't know that?
Cuban immigrant. He came to this country in 1962, right before the Cuban Missile Crisis, and obtained a green card. Yes, people who immigrate to this country can eventually. People who immigrate to this country not through Ellis Island,
as a factual question,
ways do obtain a green card at some point. They do it through a lot of hard work, and yes, they may learn English as a second language later on in life. But this whole notion of, well, they could learn, they have to learn English before they get to the United States. Are we just going to bring in people from Great Britain and Australia?
Jim, actually, I have to honestly say, I am shocked at your statement that you think that only people from Great Britain and Australia would know English. It's actually, it reveals your cosmopolitan bias to a shocking degree that in your mind, no, this is an amazing moment. This is an amazing moment. That you think only people from Great Britain or Australia would speak English is so insulting to millions of hard-working immigrants who do speak English from all over the world. Jim, have you honestly never met an immigrant from another country who speaks English outside of Great Britain and Australia? Is that your personal experience?
Of course there are people who come.
But that's not what you said, and it shows your cosmopolitan bias. And I just want to say,
it sounds like you're trying to engineer the racial and ethnic flow of people into this country.
Jim, that is one of the most outrageous, insulting, ignorant, and foolish things you've ever said. And for you, that's still a really the notion that you think that this is a racist bill is so wrong.
What are you, ignorant? Come on, man. Steve, Miller time. Miller time, baby. It's Miller time. If you got the time. What are you, ignorant? Are you ignorant? I mean, that is let me tell you something. You have to give Steve Miller credit. And first of all, this CNN, they are freaking out because English, okay? They are freaking out. All right? English. Sorry, I know. You say, well, maybe I could take a class and learn to speak English myself. Maybe, get my C's and my Saws and my scenes down pat and all the above, I understand. It freaks them out. So, green card law, we used to have a situation where we had the best and the brightest. So you think only people from Australia and Great Britain speaking? What are you, ignorant? I'm sorry. Cosmopolitan bias. Stephen Miller hit a home run with your cosmopolitan bias. That made my day. I'm watching that yesterday afternoon. This CNN guy really was not there to report. He was there to give his opinion, okay? You seen very clearly he got into his opinion in a match. Okay, what the Statue of Liberty says, and oh my God, what the Statue of Liberty says, hey, your cosmopolitan bias. What are you, that is the stupidest, dumbest, ignorant, what's wrong with you? Really? People from India, people from Africa, we get people from Africa that speak English, we get Russians that come and speak English. Oh no, I think Russia off that list of green cards. Look, folks, they are going to ratchet down who comes in this country. Now watch what happens. They're going to ratchet it down. You're going to have a skill. All right? Jobs are available. They are available. So let me look at the black youth in America and tell you. Black males in America and tell you. There's good paying jobs available. Okay? Young people, there's nothing wrong with being the best carpenter, okay? They're good paying jobs. We used to call it, you remember the old days? Here I am saying remember the old days, right? You remember the old days when we called it an honest day's work? Remember that? I know I'm going way down. Remember that? An honest day's work? Folks, jobs are available. Good paying jobs. You understand? And Trump is doing everything, the President of the United States is doing everything he can to stop illegal immigration from taking. Let me tell you something. I probably shouldn't go there. And usually when I shouldn't go there, I do it anyway. We've allowed the Great Society, LBJ. You will pick up, I do not like LBJ. We took, and I don't want to go back to Woodrow Wilson and LBJ and Kennedy, everybody's hero. I'm not going there. The Great Society See, what Democrats did, I knew I would do this. What Democrats did is they looked at the black vote, okay, and they instituted a form of slavery. I could hear the screeching like a record stopping, and the jukebox stopped playing, and everybody's staring like, did he say slavery in 20? Yeah, that's what oh yeah, I said it. So Democrats, they take this different form of ownership. I know how controversial it is. And they take this different form and they put it into legislation, and they say, you know what? Vote for me. We will give you all of these we'll give you food. We'll give you lodging. Okay? We'll make sure. And while we're at it, we would like for you to live here. Okay? So your government went around and, provided housing. It's just like finding a solution and bipartisan solutions. Well, see, they provided housing for low-income Americans. Boy, that sounded great, right? Provided housing for low-income Americans, okay? So we did that. And then what happened is we said we live here, and then we sent the money into there, and they did not come out. Boom. So generation after generation after generation, now we have a complete population in these cities that have no understanding whatsoever about self-sustaining, honest day's work, sad to say, created by the government, and there's plenty of jobs. There is not a reason why we have such a high incarceration level of black American males. There's no reason why we have. There's no reason why we have such an unemployment number for black American males. It's just not necessary, other than Democrat liberal policy and, people like Al Sharpton. Where can I go with that? I can't go anywhere with that. Folks, you can get a job if you try. And things are so bad out there. Let me tell you how bad things are out there. Things are so bad. I saw a white kid cutting a Mexican's grass. That's how bad it is. Never know. I better go to break. Somebody sent me a text message that said, the jobs out there. Let's see, what did that text message say? Here's it. To find people, they have to pass drug screening. Interesting. Can't pass drug screening. I'm your host, BKP. Now, let me get back. Yuma Abedin, James Comey, the whole list that need to go to prison, okay? The media is totally glossing over, like our congressman here in the 9th District, August 10th. I'm going to tell you a little bit when they get back. Congressman Doug Collins will be right here in studio with me for a full 30 minutes. We're going to get into some issues. We really are. We're going to have a time to drill down on some things that are really going on in Washington, D.C. with your Congressman, 9th District, Doug Collins. Doug Collins on the House Judiciary Committee, Karen Handel, Trey Gowdy, the whole list of them. They voted to further investigations, but on the maybe Democrat side, maybe they want to see more information from Comey, more information from Loretta Lynch. Maybe they want to see more information on that side of what really happened. That gets bypassed. And nobody's talking about Ben Rhodes today. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back right after these messages. Sam, take us to break.